Hi, I'm Marty Nemko. I never talk about my personal life, but two bad things happened. I'll get to the substance in a minute. Um, One, I interviewed somebody potentially to be on my radio show and was very disappointed in what I thought was the basis for her assertions, and I actually viscerally got upset because I thought she was hurting people from her with her pop psych nostrums, and she was offended by my reaction. And then tonight in my radio show, I interviewed the author of the definitive biography of Warren Buffett, who's given away more money than anybody other than Bill Gates. I think something like $50 million, and some virulent testimony to the unbelievable ethical purity that is required. Wrote me a scathing letter. Who knows? Maybe we'll send it to the station manager. How dare I have Warren Buffett, who is invested in Coca-Cola, which has a long history of bad treatment of workers, and how dare he, and he also has a company that owns natural gas and coal, making life difficult for solar companies. How could you have him on the air? So he's giving away $50 billion to charity, mainly very lefty charities. Bill Gates Foundation mainly invests in Africa and the like. That's not enough. You have to be ethically pure. So I came home enthusiastic about the work I had done in preparing for and doing the interview with a wonderful woman, Alice Schroeder. The name of the book is Snowball. And I thought I asked good doubting Thomas hard questions, and she even said that. You're asking me all these challenging questions. But it's never enough for certain people. The word illiberal is appropriate, intolerant. As I've been known to say, the McCarthyism from the left is far more pervasive and deeper than the McCarthyism from the right that the left keeps harping on 75 years from now. I'm very concerned about the censorship in today's society and censorship, reducing everybody to names like racist, sexist, and elitist. But I digress. I'm here to talk about something less lofty but more applicable to you potentially, which is when you've made a big mistake in terms of choosing your career or your relationship. First of all, let me apologize. I hope you're not offended at my having done this. I never do it, and also I've at a reader's request or a viewer's request, I had done all of these extemporaneously in a row, like 6 or 7, when previously I had basically read or paraphrased what I wrote, and I liked the extemp quality, but they felt a little disjointed, and I thought this time I would try to do something that was I would actually read and or paraphrase what I had written in my Psychology Today article, which is called Recovering from Big Mistakes When You've Chosen the Wrong Career or Romantic Partner. Excuse me a second. Okay. One of a prestigious university's brightest and nicest students got tired of engineering, and so, because he's good at school, went to law school. Now he's a corporate lawyer and hates it. The same guy has a wonderful girlfriend in college, pretty, smart, kind, well-adjusted, headed for career success. He broke up with her after graduation and married someone sexier. Soon after the rice had been cleaned up, and especially after they had had 2 kids, he said, "She is so cruel to me. There are grains of truth in what she says about me, but she magnifies my every error, my every weakness to cause me maximum pain, and in turn get brownie points for herself." That's pretty much a quote. And when he was asked, well, why don't you divorce her and go back to engineering or combine your law and engineering expertise and go into intellectual property law, he yes-butted. So, despite being brilliant and a great guy, he's now committed himself to a lifetime of professional and personal misery. We're all subject to commitment bias. We commit to a career or to a spouse, and understandably, it's scary to change. It's been said that the only person who likes change is a wet baby. And sure, people change careers, people divorce, but at the risk of being contrarian, I don't think they do it enough. Think of all the miserable couples who stay together only for the kids. Now, really, is that enough of a reason to endure a lifetime of misery? Even for the kid, it may be better to grow up with a peaceful single parent than with a fire-breathing couple. And think of all the people who stay together out of inertia. That's an even sillier reason. And now think of all the couples who stay together out of fear of an endless, bloody, expensive legal battle. Now there's a reason to stay together. But seriously, so often couples, even before they marry, know that the union ain't made in heaven. It's barely above ground, and that's before they start taking each other for granted, let alone the Promethean boulder strain of having kids. Your freedom and energy go bye-bye. Kids first and foremost. Unless your relationship is hella strong, wouldn't the god or goddess within you say, break free? Same with career. Compensation for all but the top 10% is shaky now, with a future shakier still thanks to accelerating automation and short-term contract work replacing decades of job security that used to have a monthly fat check auto-deposited, ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Increasingly, the pay is dots and dashes with varying spaces in between. So you better put yourself in a career and with an employer where you're likely to be in that top 10%. Okay, top quarter. That's your best insurance for having a contented work life and not having to eat ramen and cat food. As usual, the way to cope with the fear of a big change is baby steps, low-risk baby steps. No one's asking you to leave your spouse or live-in partner tomorrow. Privately, list the pros and cons of staying together. Show and discuss it with a trusted friend or relative. Picture your next year as single or with a likely replacement versus being with your spouse. If leaving still feels good, have a weekend away with a platonic friend and see how that feels being away from your spouse. Then maybe try a week. And if that's pushing you further out the door, it may be time to have a conversation with your partner about the wisdom of a trial separation, maybe a month. You get the point. And if you do decide to split permanently, please really try to let your statesman self tamp down your vindictive self and see if the two of you can work out a separation agreement with a mediator. No lawyers who too often inflame the situation, thereby inflating their fee. Same story in evaluating a career change. Play around on mynextmove.org or my book Careers for Dummies and see what careers emerge. Compare those with options you already were considering. Then Google search one or more prospective careers to get more information, and videos can be particularly helpful there. Then maybe job shadow someone in that career. Check out what's involved in retraining. Do you need another degree? Or would a few online courses on LinkedIn Learning or Udemy be enough to make you viable for a first job in your new career? I want to reiterate that I am well aware of how difficult it is to contemplate making a major life change. I resist changing even my seat at the dinner table. But if a clear-eyed look at your life suggests that it's worth investigating a career change or a relationship change, at least take that first low-risk baby step. Until you've taken a lot of those steps, you can always turn around. As usual, I always welcome your subscribing to my channel, to giving a thumbs up, and I accept your thumbs down if you deem appropriate. That's right below there, or sharing it with social media, writing a comment. But in any event, I always, of course, appreciate your watching, and I apologize again for that introduction, but I thought I would lend a little human touch to this. I don't even remember if I told you the good news. The good news, my dog was sick for 2 or 3 days, and the doggy seems to be much better. And on that pleasant note, I'm Marty Nemko.